Hello and welcome back to our van build series. If there's anything that this van is known for, it's probably the use of 80/20 extruded aluminum for the build of all of the cabinetry. The galley, the rear cabinetry, the overheads, the electrical box in the back, everything is framed from 80/20. Now, we were not the first to build a van with this product. However, I do believe that we were the first to bring it to YouTube. So if you're unfamiliar with the product, let's take a look at what it is. Now, with all the pretty wood removed, you can kind of get a better sense of what's going on here. The aluminum sort of creates the exoskeleton for all of your cabinets. So it gives a very secure way to mount your refrigerator, your drawers, your cabinet doors, or anything else you might want to attach to it. So here we've got an isotherm refrigerator. There are a couple angle brackets that go through. These fridges come with some little tabs that you remove, and you can push a bolt through and into an angle bracket to secure it. And then up here we have a pull-out table, which you can put whatever you want to build in there. A pull-out cutting board, a table, a shallow drawer. Now, these are 4 drawers, and here we have bars that will accommodate probably just about any type of drawer slide that you want to use. These are to support the end of the drawer slide, and then you'll need to put a couple bolts through this to keep it secure with a loaded drawer. And then we are using slam latches. Those will keep the drawer shut while traveling. So these give a place to mount the catch for those, but you could use magnets, you could use any number of things to keep your drawers closed. And then we're also able to use the framing to mount the unit through the factory tie downs. So there's one there, there's another back here in the corner that you won't be able to see. And then this is the water system we designed. So there's a sink, and there are 2 5-gallon water containers. There's a water pump attached to the framing back there, and then we have an E-track system attached to the 80/20 to keep all of this secure, because if you get into an accident, you do not want several hundred pounds worth of loaded refrigerator, loaded drawers, and water hitting you in the back. This galley has been in use since 2017, and it has worked out great for us. And over the last several years, we've gotten a lot of messages from you guys, either with questions about how to build one, or actually quite a number of you have actually replicated it, or you've built something very similar inspired by this design. So based on the amount of correspondence we've gotten about it, we decided to come up with a kit. We worked with one of the leading vendors for 80/20 we worked on improving this design, making it even better, and they are pre-cutting all the aluminum. They are milling it for fasteners, and they are shipping out a kit that is all ready to assemble and that is based on this design. So let me show you so you have some sense of what it takes to go from the framing to a final product like this. The framing in this van is bolted through the factory tie downs in 2 locations. You probably saw that earlier. The framing is also bolted to the sidewall of the van through 6 holes I drilled in the side of the van. That can be done any number of ways. Some people have L-track running down the side of the van. If you don't know what L-track is, that's this stuff. You can attach it to that. You can bolt it through. You can use angle brackets. There's a lot of different ways. The next is, because you've got heavy-duty framing, there are no sides, there are no middle support pieces, there's no floor, there's no back, and that saves a lot of weight. In addition, the side panels of this are only 1/4-inch plywood. They weigh nothing. So to attach the plywood, all you do is you cut out a square, and the 80/20 is pre-tapped here and there down at the bottom, so that you can thread in a 5/16 bolt. There is no place to tap in the middle, so you can slide, and I will show this later, a T-nut in so that you can bolt it. So that is how end panels are bolted. Over here, it butts up to another cabinet, but you can see it's just simply 1/4-inch plywood. And then of course refrigerator gets bolted into place using angle brackets. The drawers, we have a whole video on building drawers. These are just 3/4-inch plywood. You can use whatever you want to use. I like the look of this. And with the slam latches, that forms our drawers. Cabinet door just requires a couple of hinges that are attached to the 80/20. We have a whole video on that as well. As for making and mounting a countertop, this is a 1/2-inch plywood countertop with laminate glued on the top, cut out for a sink, glued and screwed on a little backsplash, and let me show you how it's attached. There are angle brackets, and the angle brackets come with the kit, and I used wood screws, not wood screws, I used wood inserts in the plywood of the countertop, and that bolts the 80/20. So there are 6 of those to support the countertop. I did a whole video on that as well. So that is the gist of it. I will link down below the videos to show how to build the end panels, how to build the drawers, how to build the cabinet doors and the latches. So let's take a look now at the framing kit. I have taken the kit out of the box, and I will walk you through what we're looking at here. So first, we have a diagram, and it shows each of the profiles with a letter, and you simply match up the letters on the profile with what you see in the diagram. It comes with all the anchor fasteners to put it together, and it comes with a small hardware set that's just for mounting the countertop. So here we have, for example, A and G. Those are the 2 longest profiles, which the longest profiles make up the top. So here is your A, here is your G. So what we are going to do is take these, which, by the way, I should point out they're all pre-milled, of course, for the anchor fasteners. And these are the legs on the front faces. These are the ones that have one slot covered so that you don't have to look at the slot, because some places you will see it. And then these are our 3 drawer dividers horizontally that hold the latches for our slam latches. These are the 4 rear legs. We won't see those, so those have 4 slots. These are all the drawer slide laterals, and then we have one unique piece that goes across the bottom that has its anchor fasteners in a different orientation than the others. So let's take all this and line it up and start assembling it on the floor. Okay, we have our face frame lined up on the floor. Keep in mind, fridge compartment, drawers, and this is the water bay. So this kit was very carefully designed so that all of the fasteners will be accessible with this thing in the van. And that was done so that, let's say a fastener loosened up on you, which isn't going to happen because we're going to use Loctite. But if it did, I want it accessible. So I was very careful to design this so that there are no fasteners in the refrigerator cabinet, because you don't want to have to pull the refrigerator out to tighten something. This is what the milled fastener looks like. The fastener will go in that hole. So this is where the drawers are. As you saw earlier, the drawers come out very easily. So if one of those fasteners came loose, you could just pull the drawer out. Same here. This is the water compartment. You can open the cabinet and you can get to all the fasteners. So in order to avoid fasteners being in the refrigerator area, on the right side we have the fasteners on the outside. And that's because normally this is going to go the back of your driver's seat. You'll be able to reasonably pull the 1/4-inch panel if you needed to tighten something like that. But the whole rest of these will be accessible from inside the cabinet. So keep that in mind when assembling it. And the diagram does indicate where the anchor should be. This says anchor on the top side. That refers to right here. We didn't want to hide the anchor on the bottom where you couldn't get to it. So keep that in mind. Okay, let me show you how the fasteners work. This is the fastener. This is called an anchor fastener. This is the T-nut that slides into the slot, and this head slides into the specially milled receptacle. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unthread the T-nut a little bit so that it's a little bit below the surface of the actual T-nut, and then slide it into the slot, and then just recess it in. This is the only tool you're going to need to assemble the whole galley. This is a 6mm Allen head. I highly recommend buying, I will link them down below, the inexpensive set of ball head, because that allows you to come in at an angle to tighten it. If you don't have the ball head, it can be a little bit complicated to tighten because the slot actually gets in the way. So we will now use the ball head to tighten it down. Flush it up on the end and tighten. That's it. That's how we assemble the entire galley. One thing to keep in mind when you're assembling this is if I went ahead and bolted this one down before I was finished, I would not be able to get the anchor fastener in to attach, for example, our side braces. So you kind of need to be cognizant that you have everything that you need in here. So our next step is to install these drawer boxes. So because it's still loose, I can take my anchor fastener and I can orient it correctly, which in this case, the anchors are, I designed them to be in the top. You can have them facing down so you don't see them if you like. I prefer to be able to see them, make them easier to get to. So I will slide in the slot 3 T-nuts per side into the slot. And I will do the same on this side. Now with those T-nuts in place, I'm going to go ahead and put them where they belong inside here. And now these can be tightened down. For right now, I would just snug these down. Don't put Loctite on them right now because you're going to want to set them for now, and then later you can come in and loosen them and adjust them depending on what size drawers you want to use. So let me grab my tool and I'll just kind of loosely set these in place. Now there's a fastener right here. Before I fasten it down, there's also one here. So I need to be thinking about preloading the slot with fasteners. There's also one down here. So I'll set one fastener here for that guy. I'll slide another one in. For that guy. And then this one goes in like so. Push that one into place. That one. That one. We still need to fasten the tops, but we have not tightened it down yet, so we can still slide T-nuts in. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten these now. And this is where it helps to kind of have things loose. This is not a great angle for getting this in, so what I'll do is loosen these, slide it out of the way a little bit, and that's just going to make my job for tightening this one much easier. Okay, that one's tight. Let's slide this one back. Put it about there and tighten it down. And finally lock this one down. Now we don't want to attach the top yet because we still have T-nuts that we need to be able to slide down the backs of these profiles. So I'm going to flip it so that it's face down. Alright, now we're going to start adding all these laterals that come off the back. So keep in mind when looking at this now, it's easy to get it reversed, that we're looking at the back side now. So where you see the cutout right here, that is for the refrigerator. So it's reversed. This is the refrigerator. So we want to add this lateral. We want to add the 8 laterals for the drawer slides. These top laterals, all of those are the same. There's one unique one, and then that's why this one has a different letter. This one is the one I bar. We'll leave that one for last. We'll add these other 10 bars. I'm going to start with the 8 drawer slide bars, and you can point the anchor fastener up or down. I want to point them up, so I will load 8 of these in this orientation. And now I can start installing the bars. And tighten them down. So I set these bars just above the height of the cross because that's where your door slide will go. And depending on what door slides you use, you might have to adjust them up or down, which is very easy even with the galley completely assembled. Now that we've slid all the T-nuts that we need down these vertical profiles, we can go ahead and lock down the top. So we earlier locked down the one on that end. So we now have a fastener here, here, and here, and that will lock this top bar down. So I will take one of these, slide it in. And one here, and we can lock them down. Alright, and now the top is locked in. Now we have 3 remaining J-bars, here, here, and here. Alright, and we have one unique bar. This eye is different from all these other crossbars, and that one goes on the sink side, which is over here. And you'll need to note on this, at the back, the anchor goes up, and anchor goes on the inside. So here's inside and up. Now we can stand this guy up and put the back on. Okay, now installing these H legs, all 4 back legs are the H's, and they are all the same. They are only milled in one location, and this is where you want to pay attention to putting the anchor fastener where it's most easily going to be reachable. So this is the cabinet door, so we want it facing in so you can access it. Here is inside of a drawer face in. Inside of a drawer, you want it facing this way. You don't want any anchor fasteners in the refrigerator cabinet. This one, you want to face out so you can access it from out here. Okay, now for installing the back here, I think it's easiest just to drop these anchor fasteners into place. We're going to slide this bar in, pointing in toward the drawers. This one facing in toward the drawer area. Okay, and now we're going to install the top bar. Now, one thing is that we are going to have some T-nuts that mount these 6 countertop mounts. We don't want to bolt it down before we get some T-nuts in there. So we're going to start by sliding in 3. One on this end, one here, and one here. And I'll show you a close-up. This is our last bar. And take 3 of these and slide them in with this raised part facing in. One on each end, one in the middle. Okay, that's to mount our countertop. Now we'll spin that around. We will face those in, the T-nuts, facing this way. And we will also need to preload all of these. So we'll have one for right here, another for here, one for here, one on the very end. All right, before we bolt in this water cabinet, this corner, we have one more to slide in, and that's to go right here. So tighten the corner, tighten this one here. Tighten this one. Okay, and we have just one T-nut left. And that goes in this corner. You can slide in from the outside. Okay, we have one thing left to do. We have 3 T-nuts that we need to install over on this side to mount our countertop. Felt like it's easier to do it now than having done it earlier, so we'll loosen just this one anchor fastener and pop it out. Now our track is clear, so we'll load in our 3 T-nuts. Slide them down. Now we can reinstall this fastener. Tighten it down. And final step is just to put on the angle brackets for the countertop. So now you can probably see our 3 T-nuts, one there, here, In here, we're going to install an angle bracket with a bolt head to mount the countertop. So far we have assembled this whole galley with just one tool, just the 6mm Allen. In this case, to mount the countertop, we need a 3/16 Allen. Just thread it into the T-nut. Now we have an assembled galley. Okay, here is the front of our assembled galley. So keep in mind, refrigerator, drawers, sink. So with the refrigerator in place, you don't want anchor fasteners pointing in, and there aren't any. So this panel that you'll have on this side, it's probably going to go against the back of your driver's seat. You could remove that panel and have access to all the fasteners here. There are some that will be inside the cabinet. They're even more accessible, but the main point was to keep them out of the refrigerator bay. Drawers. You pull the drawers out, you have access to all of the anchor fasteners here on the actual drawer slide things, because when it's time for you to mount drawer slides, you might move these up or down to accommodate varying sized drawers. And again, anchor fasteners are on the inside of the drawers where you can get to them. One on the top there. This being the water cabinet, you'll be able to open a cabinet door and you will have access to all of the anchor fasteners. On the inside, on the top, on the inside. On this side, there are no anchor fasteners. And that's because you will probably have other cabinetry that butts up against this. So you don't want hidden fasteners. And I want to show you a couple tricks. A standard 5/16 carriage bolt fits perfectly in the slot of this. So this is really handy for bolting any number of things down. When I bolted the cabinet down inside the van, you can pick up the cabinetry a little bit, slide a carriage bolt in. This is exactly how I bolted the cabinet to my van. I drilled a hole in the sidewall, not in the outside of the van, of course, in the sidewall. I passed carriage bolts through with a really large washer and a nylock nut on the back. The nylock nut has rubber in it to make them vibration resistant so they don't back out. That's one way to do it. You could use an angle bracket and have it go into a plus nut in the van if you choose to do that. Okay, here's another tip. I had the ends of all of your 80/20 tapped for 5/16 bolt. So anywhere where profile ends like that, you can put your 1/4 inch end cap on and use bolts. And in places like this, where there is no threaded hole and you don't want to take this apart to have to put in a T-nut, that's where these come in. This is called a roll-in T-nut. It has a little spring-loaded ball here. You don't have to take anything apart. You can just push it in, and the nice thing about the spring-loaded one is that they stay in place. So this way, when you go to put your end cap on, use a bolt, and use a couple of these to mount it in the middle and down on the bottom. These things are a lifesaver. The other place that you are probably going to want to use these is when you go to mount your door slides. Buy some of these. Since your door slides are already assembled, which you're going to be able to do, I'll show you from the front. Your door slide will rest on this. And then when you go to bolt it down, maybe in the middle and in the back, just slip these in. I used M4, really small ones. Slip it in, put your door slide up there. Most door slides have holes already in them, but maybe you'll have to drill a hole depending on what you're doing, and bolt right into it. So you want roll-in T-nuts for anywhere where you've already got the cabinetry assembled. Before you call this done, it's a good idea to take a square and check and just make sure that you bolted it together square. Also, on this particular model, the drawer opening is designed at 15 inches wide, so of course it's going to be 15 inches at the front. But check the back legs and make sure they're at 15 inches as well. Make sure that you bolted that together square, because that will help your drawer slides operate really nicely. Another thing is this particular model is designed to accommodate an Isotherm Cruise 130 Elegance refrigerator. I think that's one of the bigger refrigerators. And if you wanted a smaller refrigerator, that affects the lengths of two bars, this one and this one. So if you were to cut these two bars shorter, that would pull this in to accommodate a smaller refrigerator. Check the links down below. The distributor may be willing to make very minor changes, such as reducing the length of these bars. You'd have to do that at your own risk, and you would have to tell them the dimensions that you want these cut. I haven't mentioned specific dimensions for this galley because there may be more models coming. So check the website. It will have all the specific dimensions for this galley. All right, thanks for your interest in this, and look down below this video in the description, and there are links to an informational page with the dimensions and pricing and everything that you need to know about ordering this kit for yourself. And in addition, I'm going to put links that show how to build the various aspects of this galley. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.